welcome to episode 1, season 1 of Welcome to the Clubhouse. We're sitting here in Sam Seitel's studio in a shed, and it is fantastic.
All right, thank you for throwing that out there, because is this not the coolest shed in possibly the world?
I am flanked by video games on basically 3 sides. A chest freezer, which also has video games on it.
Normally it has freeze pops on the inside.
What?
Once summer camp happens, this bad boy is going to be full. So anytime. Now I got to tell you though, Don, if you want the blue freeze pops, you're going to have to pay because, you know, they're the blue wackadoos.
I think I'll be okay. I like the green ones.
Oh,
They're my
okay.
favorite. Even if they cut the inside of my lips there. I'm really excited to see NBA Jam directly across from me.
I will kick your butt in some NBA Jam. I will be on fire the entire time.
There is no doubt. My game is not good. I'm about as good as NBA Jam as I am at regular basketball. So we're so excited. We had Rodney Ibarra as our first guest. Rodney has been doing the posters for us for the last 4 arts and music festivals. He's a local artist. He has an amazing background that you're going to hear all about when we roll this thing, and we couldn't be happier to have him as our first guest in this outing.
Such a cool first guest. We have awesome guests lined up for the future, and so stick with us through this awesome interview with Rodney, and then the best is yet to come. Wow, pressing that button felt good.
Did it?
We've been waiting a long time for this. So welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We are doing episode 1. I was thinking about how to say this. The art of.
Yeah, I'm not like hard into the art of, like, I'm either thinking of that or the clubhouse. I mean, this feels like a clubhouse. We're art club. It feels like.
Should we switch it up to the clubhouse?
We could. It could be like breaking news episode 1 stuff, I guess.
All right, we'll figure it out eventually before dropping the episode, hopefully.
Yeah, we might have to cut all of this out.
Yeah.
And just come up with something later on.
For sure.
Yeah.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Now, we mentioned before that this is our first one and we have little to no preparation. And that's how we roll. So I think maybe he should introduce himself.
All right, let's try it.
All right, dude, go for it.
My name is Rodney Ibarra. I am a resident of Hamilton. I go by Juxpo76 as an artist. And it's good to be here.
What do you go by?
I go by Juxpo76. It's kind of the moniker. I've been into graffiti for a long time. So rather than writing my own name, like tagging something and being like, Rodney was here, I just do Juxpo76.
Where did you get that name from?
It's just like so many names are taken. So you just kind of like make up your own, just kind of work it. And 76 comes from my year of birth, and Juxpo is just something I just...
Born in 76?
Yeah.
You're looking good, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
So what got you into graffiti? Because I got to tell you, my favorite artist, someone who impacted my life, I don't know if you've heard of Jean-Michel Basquiat.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
I mean, when I was younger, I was just... Remember when you would watch TV and you couldn't figure out what the show was called unless you went to that channel that kind of scrolled showed what was on. Yeah. But it was the end of the movie. It was changing my life as I was watching it. And then when I went to that channel, it was already past that half-hour point, so I couldn't see the name of the movie. Yeah. It took me, there was like barely any internet back then, so it took me years to figure out it was called Basquiat. And ever since then, I've been I might get that crown tattoo.
Yeah, that's really dope.
Pretty soon.
Yeah, that's awesome.
What got you into graffiti?
Well, I grew up in El Paso, Texas, so I'm a border town kid. And it's kind of hard. It's kind of again, I was born in 1976 because it's a long time ago, so I'm like trying to figure out exactly how I got into it. But I think I've always kind of had like this inkling to write on stuff. And I've always just really loved writing in general. Like I've always loved handwriting and stuff. And I met a kid in high school, and he was from LA, and he'd been in the graffiti game for a little bit, and he kind of showed me the ways a little bit, and kind of just like dove right into it and just kind of started getting into trouble. And
I was gonna say, it sounds like a dangerous art form.
It really is, yeah. And especially like in El Paso at the time. El Paso is like a really like gang. Well, at the time it was like really like gang laden. It was kind of like the mini Los Angeles of that time. Yeah, so like not being in a gang, but also like writing, you're competing with gangs. So like if I put my tag up, somebody's like, oh yeah, that's we got to get that guy, you know? So it was kind of crazy in that kind of respect. But
when I said danger, I was thinking danger with the law.
Oh yeah, and that too. There's there's so many aspects of danger, as far as like, I mean, because at the time it was like about getting up, like what's the highest thing you can get up on, get on that billboard, or like, you know, like freeway signs, or it was crazy. Like things were crazy back then.
Oh, that's pretty badass.
Yeah, it was pretty badass.
I didn't think about that. See, I just thought about dangerous, like don't get caught, but like going to the extreme, like trying to find the coolest, highest, greatest place. Do you have one that's like the one you're most proud of? Like, man, I tagged that.
Yeah. So there was this, I couldn't tell you now, especially because again, it's so long ago, but there was this billboard that was like near the mall in El Paso, and it was so high up next to the freeway, and it was always like that was like, yeah, I want to hit that. One day I just decided on it, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna, you know, come up with this way to get up to the ladder, because, you know, billboards don't just make it really easy to get on, right? Like, they make it a little bit hard. So
I've never been.
The ladders are typically up a ways. You know, you gotta get to the ladder first. So we like did this whole like grappling system. You know
what?
Yeah, did this whole
some ninja stuff.
Did some ninja stuff, and so anyways, we get up on this onto this ladder. I get up all the way up in there, and these billboards sway, man. And it was like 12 o'clock at night, midnight, and there's cars are like, they can see you. They're honking at you.
Really?
Yeah, it's crazy. And this billboard just swaying.
No way.
Yeah, and you just got like a few minutes to get it and do your thing and get down.
What'd you put up there?
I did a crew name. I was in a crew called TNT for a long time, and that was like the crew. So we just did the TNT. You got to put your crew up before you put yourself up. That's just kind of like how it was back then. So yeah, that's what I did. TNT.
When you say crew, do you mean like just a straight up like art crew?
Yeah, it was just a crew that just did graffiti. Like that's just what we did. We weren't a gang, so we didn't like, we weren't like out like breaking in cars or like beating other people up. We were just, you know, that's all we
doing
did.
art.
Doing art. Yeah. Walk around with sketchbooks and, you know, hey, let me write in your sketchbook. It was pretty cool. It was a lot of fun. And weirdly enough, I used to tell my mom this story all the time before she just passed away a few years ago. But she was like kind of like happy that because I did get in a lot of trouble, but she was really happy that I wasn't in a gang.
Through the graffiti?
Yeah, through the graffiti. Yeah. She was just really happy I wasn't in a gang. So she'd be like, "Where are you going, Rodney?" I'd be like, "I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna go right." And she'd be like, "All right, just try not to get in any trouble." Like, yeah, all right. But she was just like,
I figure out of all the things you could get in trouble doing as a kid, like making art.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Creative outlet, putting something out there for people to see.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
What would you say to like a kid nowadays who's like, I want to tag up Hamilton?
Well, things are different now. I feel like there's an outlet now, right? I feel like there's a lot of legal walls and there's places to do it. Like back then, you know, people just didn't want to see it, you know? Like they weren't like a lot of legal walls to paint on back then, you know?
Yeah, I figure it's a lot like tattoos. It's just kind of become
or anything really, skateboarding, right? Like back then you couldn't skate anywhere. Now it's like people like skateboarding, you know? Like skateboarding was like sort of like the misfit thing, you know?
Yeah.
Like now people are like, yeah, skateboarding's cool. You know, everybody skateboarding's in the Olympics, you know?
Is it really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you think that skateboarding in Hamilton is ever going to be a thing? Because I remember for a while people were talking about a skate park here in the town.
Yeah, there's a crew called
Skate Hamilton.
Skate Hamilton, yeah. They're just
that's a thing?
Yeah, they just raised some money, and right here where the hockey ring is at, they do this skating on Thursdays or something like that. Yeah, and they bring out a bunch of kids. They teach them how to skate. It's really
cool. They have half pipes, or it's just
they just bring out like some launch ramps and like some quarter pipes. They, you know, because they're doing it on a budget, you know, and they're really, it's like a donation based thing. So it's really cool, to be honest with you. Like, if they could get a skate park in this town, that would be awesome.
Oh,
it would be really great.
that would be amazing. I feel like that would be so good for the town.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think the big thing is insurance. I think that's the thing that kind of kills.
How does that work with skateboarding? Like, how would that work with a park?
I couldn't tell you. I know that it's probably expensive.
There used to be like a skate park by the Galloway Library, and I think they turned it into basketball courts. But it was like the coolest.
Because there's not enough basketball courts in the world.
No, right, and they probably don't require insurance.
Yeah.
It's kind of.
How long have you been skateboarding?
Oh, I haven't skateboarded in a long time. I have a skateboard.
Kind of happens when you're born in 76, right?
Yeah.
It's a while ago.
Yeah. It's been a while since I skateboarded, but I started skateboarding at like 11 or 12 years old. And I skated pretty much into like my mid 30s.
Did you ever hit the half pipes and all that good stuff?
Yeah. When I first moved out to New Jersey, I lived in Seattle City, and they had just built a skate park out there, so I was like out there like all the time.
John, you ever hit the skateboard, man?
I did, actually. Yeah, I was like really into like the Powell and Peralta stuff, and we had this place called Bunger's Surf and Skate on Long Island, and we'd get most of our stuff from there. I mean, I do like a couple of tricks, but I mean none of the.
Can you do a kickflip, Don Swenson?
No, I can't. Yeah, like we had a couple of friends of mine who lived like a few towns away who were really more the kids of my parents' friends, and they'd skateboard a lot, so we'd hang out over there, and that's how I got into skateboarding. And like, I want to pick it up again, but I bought my wife a skateboard not too long ago. She's like, I'll try this. And really? I took it out. I was like, my legs hate this. So no. Yeah, maybe I'll get back on it someday. When
it's cool just to even ride
it's just
around,
fun,
man.
you know. Like, I just got back into cycling again.
Yeah.
Like that's fun. I forgot how nice it felt to be on a bicycle. It was like 30 years.
Yeah.
30 years.
30 years. Yeah, I stopped.
Wow.
I stopped when I.
Are the rumors true? You never forget.
It is. It's actually really true. It's really true. I got on the bike. I was like, this isn't going to be good. And then like 2 seconds later, I'm like, oh, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I came from New York City before here.
Oh,
and
nice.
There's things I don't miss, like the sirens outside of my window all the time, and strolling my kid through the snow while someone I don't know is trying to like say how cute my kid is and trying to touch him. But the one thing I miss more than anything is biking around the city.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I got hit by a few taxis.
I was gonna say, or getting doored.
Yeah, dude, I got doored a couple times. Flew right over the door.
That cannot be good.
I got the scars to prove it, man.
Where in New York were you?
So originally I was living in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, and I would bike over that Williamsburg Bridge. Going up, it was, that was taxing, but man, that ride down. Speaking of skateboard, there was one time I saw a guy going down full speed on a longboard, and he must have hit a rock or something. I was going too fast to stop because I probably should have checked on the dude, but oh my God, going down one of those bridges on a longboard. Yeah. But then I moved to Midtown, and then when I met my wife, we moved to the Upper East Side.
Okay. Cool. Yeah.
So I've been all over the place. Nice. But man, I miss that skateboarding around the city.
Yeah.
Yeah, big time. I'm pretty lucky I'm okay
to
this day because I don't know if now that I have kids and I'm like a middle-aged man, like I wonder like would I still ride the same or maybe a little more cautious? I don't know. I feel like if I got on there, I'd still be a dummy. Yeah, pretty sure about that.
Yeah, it's funny too because like I always think about like so I just had a kid, right?
Congrats, dude! Just recently, first child.
Yeah,
wow, man!
2 years ago. So she's almost 2 years old, and I would always tell myself, when I have a kid, I'm gonna teach her how to skate, teach him everything I know, right? Teach him how to draw or whatever.
That's a beautiful thing,
right?
Dude.
Like, she's like, I've been showing her a lot of skate videos, but I'm always like, I don't know. I don't know if I want, because then you see like the falls on the skate videos and you're like, I don't know if I want her to skate.
I know. It's you got to find that balance, right? Like you want to keep them safe. Like my kids, they love martial art. They love all the stuff I'm into too. But like when my kids talk about like becoming a pro wrestler like me, I'm like, that'd be awesome. And I start thinking about stuff. I'm like, but some things wouldn't be awesome.
Right. Yeah.
I think in the end, they're going to do what they want.
Sure. Yeah.
I know. I mean,
absolutely.
Did you do what you wanted?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's part of it. Finding that balance from being their protector as well as giving them the freedom to be able to make mistakes and make choices and all that kind of stuff.
You think you found that balance?
I'm starting to. It's real hard some days.
You have some grown-up children too.
Yeah. 25 and 22 and 7. So
it's hard to find that balance, right? Because you worry.
You always worry. I mean, I don't think that ever goes away because you always want them to be okay, and
having adult children, is it just as nerve-wracking as all of it, or are you just like, all right, they're adults now, we're good?
Sure, because now they drive, and like, and it's not like you just have to watch out and make sure they don't get into trouble, but you got to think about all the other idiots in the world that are,
That's true. It's like, I trust you. I just can't trust everybody else.
That's right. Yeah. That's crazy.
So what got you to New Jersey, I guess?
The love story. Yeah. I was living in Albuquerque, and I met a girl, and she got me here, and then didn't work out. And then I ended up...
we got the same story, dude.
Yeah, I ended up staying here.
How long were you guys together after you moved?
After I moved... like 6 years, I think.
Oh, okay. So you had a healthy time. Mine lasted like 6 days. I was out on the street.
Nuts.
Yeah, dude, I moved to New York City, and that didn't last. Yeah, probably for the better, but it didn't last.
Yeah, absolutely, 100% for the better. Yeah, like
Well, I mean, I'm just getting to know you now, but you ended up meeting a fellow artiste. Am I correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I was working at One Trick Pony, and she was an art director, or like an associate art director, and we just kind of hung out and just like instant connection. And,
what's One Trick Pony?
It's an advertising agency here in Hamilton. It's the old OCAP building on 3rd and Bellevue.
Yeah, right across from Bellevue Drugs.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. You're there too?
I was there. They're no longer there. They're in. Actually, I don't know where they're at, to be honest with you. During the pandemic, a lot of us got let go. They had a second location in Philly. That kind of fell apart as well. But they might still be there because they were kind of caught in this like long time lease or something like that. So yeah, I kind of like lost touch with a lot of people from there. So I don't really know what's happening.
Are you continuing that profession though in advertising?
Yeah, right now, I'm at another agency, Philly based, but not as cool as that agency.
Bummer.
Yeah, but again, I'm doing I do what I love on the side, so that kind of always like allows me to feel good about making money somewhere else.
So you created art for these advertising?
Yeah, well, for One Trick, it was a lot of design stuff. We had a lot of big clients like Virgin, like basically like all things Virgin. So it was like Virgin Hotels, Virgin Airlines, Virgin Mobile. Just a lot of that stuff. Boost Mobile had Hard Rock Hotels, Sony Picture Classics.
What would be a job they would give you?
Well, some of them we did like all the stuff for them, right? So like for Virgin, let's just say for Virgin Airlines, we were like their social agency. For Virgin Hotels, we did like all their stuff. We did like their branding. We did like advertising. We did TV spots, radio spots, and So my position there was just basically a designer. I was I started my career there. I worked there for 11 years before I got let go. And
that's a good chunk of time.
Ended up a senior designer at the end. Started it as a production artist there, and it was a really great run. I love those dudes, and I got to really sink my teeth into the industry there. So yeah, it's cool.
Right on. Don, you ever test out your advertising skills with your art?
No.
No.
I've designed like logos for people, and I do a bunch of stuff for Art Club, mostly out of necessity. But that's not really my strength. I'm more into portraiture and scenic design and stuff. So
it's a whole different animal. It's less art, and it's more like I think a lot of people thought that that's what, like, my mom thought that's what I did. She was like, "Dude, you just draw all day?" And I'm like, no, absolutely not. You know, I like part
what
of
would a day look like?
day
Because that's what it sounds like to me too. Is like you create something, they say yes or no, fix it up, bring it back.
Yeah, so a day would be like, you know, meetings. We like meet. What are we doing today? What is it that the client needs today? You know, some group think like what is this going to look like? How you know, we put some options together, and then it's like, how does this work? Like on all these different like levels, like collateral, like what does this look like in a website? What does this look like on a T-shirt? What does this look like in a brochure? How does this, like, you know, it's just it's very loaded. It's very there's a lot to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you do enjoy it?
I do.
You get to
yeah.
be creative.
I do, yeah. And to be honest with you, the funny thing is I've kind of maintained this sort of position. I have not like moved up in the ladder, because as I move up, as people move up in the ladder, you're doing more administrative things, right? So you're doing more paperwork. You're doing like a lot more stuff that doesn't like really like interest me, you know?
I was gonna say, you don't seem like a paperwork kind of dude.
Yeah, man, I'm not an administrator kind of guy.
I couldn't do it either. Thank God for my wife doing that at my business, because I work with the kids. Like I do the shows. I'll even friggin' mow the grass all the time, but the paperwork. Oh, dude, I couldn't do it.
Yeah,
Don, you actually kind of seem like you could handle some paperwork.
It's just.
You've got
what I do.
I don't think you like it, but
no, I don't. No, who likes doing paperwork? I mean, I'd rather be sitting at home painting all day.
Right.
But, you know, sometimes things
require
things have to get done.
Yeah.
There's a certain kind of brain. I think you gotta. I don't know. Be organized, maybe.
Yeah.
That ain't me.
You're not organized?
No, dude.
Yeah, I'm definitely not organized.
I bet you're the most organized dude in this room right now.
I don't think that's true.
Not that that's saying much. You think I'm definitely not more organized
Well, you'd
than
have
you.
to get to the bottom of the pile to find out how I organize. So yeah, no, I mean, I always think about stuff like that. Like, you know, where do you draw the line at the things that like you want to do versus like moving up, say like some sort of, you know, tiered system of employment. Like, you know, when do you say like, no, I'm good here?
Yeah, I think so. I think first of all, I think the industry is just like flooded with people who want to move up, right? So so that's why the industry is so cutthroat, is because everybody wants to do the same thing, right? Everybody wants to be at the top, right?
Sure.
So it starts with like, you know, if you're starting from the bottom, you do like production art, right? And then you kind of work in as like a junior designer, and then you're a designer, and then you're a senior designer, and then you're an art director, or you're like an associate art director, and you're art director, and then you want to be a creative director, and then you want to be the biggest creative director, and then next thing you know, you're CEO. But like, you know, and everybody wants to do that, so like everybody's just like elbowing each other to get out of the way. I'm going on that, and it's like, why do we all have to have the same path, right? Like, some people don't want to do that.
Sure.
Like for me, I just want to do the art stuff all day. You know, like anything that involves art. So yeah. So even if it means like I'm not gonna pass a certain amount of money, I'm cool with that. Like I live very comfortably. And
Are there others like you, or is it for the most part like that?
I think there are others like me. I don't think that they're not the majority, but there definitely are people like me. You know.
Oh man, because you're. I mean, clearly a cool guy. Like, you seem very chill. Like, I couldn't be in that kind of environment 8 hours a day where I feel like everyone's just trying to get to the next level above me. That would be, although you might be so cool that it's just like you can just watch it and kind of laugh.
And I do watch it, and I do kind of like laugh about it. Because again, that's not me. Like I don't want to do that, and I don't want to lose this chill. Like I think as I'm like working towards something higher than that, like I gotta lose the chill. I gotta be a little bit more of a dick, and I gotta like.
I mean, for you to climb up, you gotta kind of kick other people down.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And I don't want to do that. Like I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And if I have to do that, then that's my
time to go. Time to exit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know that you said you were like, ever since you were younger, you were really into writing. What do you mean by that?
I think I've always just been into like Well, I think my first like love of writing was my father's like handwriting. I just like he would write notes or whatever. He had like this really nice like print. Like he would just write notes, and it was just.
And you were into that.
Yeah.
What about it?
Weirdly
dude?
enough, I have
That
no
is
idea.
weird,
yeah,
dude.
it sounds like a weird thing, and then from there it kind of went into like logos and stuff like that as a kid too, and things like I shouldn't really be like.
I hated writing.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't good at it, but I loved it. I loved seeing it. My mom had like really nice like scripty writing. My father printed really nicely. My grandmother had really nice script writing because she grew up in the old school where they were.
They drilled that stuff.
Drilled that stuff, right? So,
How was your dad's handwriting? Was it like almost like engineer draftsman kind of printing?
It was very close to that. Yeah, he was in the service. He was in the army, so he's very organized.
Yeah.
Very organized. Everything he does is like very meticulous, and his writing was that. It was just like very meticulous and very clean, and I was just always impressed at how he did it, and because I couldn't do it.
Sure.
Yeah, I remember trying to like forge the old report card, and that just didn't go over well.
Oh, dude!
Yeah,
First time ever, my kid tried pulling that with me. Yeah, my wife was like, he's like, no, I got a 90 on this test. Later on the day, my wife is like, Sam, I think that's actually a 70. And then I looked at it. Oh, look at my phone going off on our first podcast. How rude! Good. And sure enough, I look and the you can tell the 7 lines look nice and straight, but that little curve that turned into a 9 looked a little sloppy. I was like, you want me to ask the teacher about this? And he's like, no.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It's like, you got to think to yourself, like, damn, I would have done the same thing.
Yeah, right.
So it's like, got to be hard on it, but at the same time, it's like, I get it, dude.
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
and you guys will laugh about it when he's older.
Of
but
course.
But right now it's not that time.
And like, of course, like his like language arts grade in one test is going to make no difference. But I guess got to lay the law down at some point. I used to like, I would go to that mailbox every single day. Like, is the report card there? Is the report card there?
Yeah.
Every now and then I would find it and hide it. And I don't know, for whatever reason, my parents like would never dig deeper. I think they probably knew what was coming, so they would avoid it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All my kids have good grades, thank God.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I feel like the schools are, I don't know if it's because of my kids or maybe the school's a little easier or a little more lenient or just a little more giving so they don't have to deal with the parents being angry nowadays. I could be totally wrong about that. For all I know, there's a lot of kids getting Fs. But my kids are all getting like straight A's. I'm like, are they that smart? And am I doing that good or...
Just take the win.
Or just take the win and shut up, right? Yeah. So your daughter's 2?
Yeah, she's 2 years old. Yeah. Well, she's almost 2. She'll be 2 next month.
Yeah. Do you think she's gonna have the art bug one day?
I think so. I mean, I feel like all kids like to draw at this point, but it's kind of hard to know if that's what she's gonna love. But right now, she like loves music. We have.
I see you rocking an MTV shirt.
Yeah.
First thing I noticed.
Yeah. So so we have. I play in a band, and we have like a lot of music equipment in a room, and she like loves to go in there and play drums. So
is that what you play?
I don't know, but we have a drum kit, and I do play drums. I'm not the drummer of the band, but we have a drum kit, and that's the thing she gravitates towards is the drum. I mean, who doesn't want to play drums? Like she walks in there, she's like, yeah, let's get behind that thing and let's make some noise. So yeah, but she like loves it, and it's like absolutely insane watching her.
Is this a Surefire broadcast?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Like how long have you folks been together? I know, like I knew you from like the first Arts and Music Festival, but
we've been together since, this is going to sound so crazy, since about 2003.
Whoa.
We played our first show. Yeah.
Wow.
We've been together for a long time.
Yeah.
All the same members since the beginning?
Nope. Drummer and myself have been the original members, and we have gone through 2 bass players. This is our, my wife is a bass player.
No way. You rock out with your wife?
Yeah.
That's pretty romantic, dude.
It's totally romantic.
Yeah. What are you?
I play guitar and I sing.
Guitar and sing.
Yeah.
What kind of music do you guys play?
Like indie rock. Rock music, yeah.
Anything like do you have like an inspiration band that you can compare yourself to, or?
I guess like the most like, I don't know, it's hard. I think like when people like ask me that question, like it's I'm trying to think of somebody that's well known, because like we like a lot of like smaller bands, so it's like how do you? I guess like Nirvana, like that sort of energy.
Okay.
Yeah, we kind of like that.
I've heard
energy.
of them. Yeah.
You better have heard them. Yeah, so like we like that energy. They're not necessarily like our favorite band, but that's certainly like the kind of.
Is that what you grew up on, Nirvana?
Yeah, I grew up on a lot of stuff.
Pearl Jam, maybe.
Yeah, a little bit of that. Yeah, I grew up on a lot of stuff, man. Yeah, my dad. So, my dad was in the service, and he was a drill sergeant for a long time, and he would. So I guess like privates aren't allowed, or like when they're doing like basic training, they're not allowed to have anything, and everything is like considered contraband. So they like take away like your tapes and CDs. So my dad would come home and he'd be like, "Here's a box of stuff I confiscated," and I'd be like, "Oh, what's that? Beastie Boys?"
Oh, that's how you got your first Beastie Boys album?
Yeah, dude. She's Crafty single.
Uh-huh. Oh, you got a single?
Single. It was like She's Crafty single, and then the album came out like a few years later.
Wow.
Roxanne Shante, like a lot of really random stuff that but like I got really into hip hop like really early on because of that. Because I guess a lot of these people were coming from other places than El Paso, so they were coming from like New York and LA and stuff, and they were kind of being sent to El Paso to train, and so they're bringing like cool stuff, you know.
You see in New York City, they just named a street after.
Paul's. It's the street that Paul's Boutique is on, right?
Okay, yeah. I don't know. I just saw the sign off of not Mike D or Ad Rock, MCA. Yeah, they named a street after him.
Yeah.
Did you ever get to see them live?
I did not, man.
That's one I missed out on too.
Yeah. That would have been awesome.
What's your favorite show you've ever been to, if you have one?
Ooh.
This question is also for
this
you.
This is a tough one, because I hit like a really great run of shows as my first shows. So the very first show. So okay, I'm gonna tell you the really long story, but as short as I can. So when I was growing up, there was this girl who was like 3 or 4 years older than me that lived next door to me. So she was cool. She was always cool, right?
Yeah.
She was always into like whatever was cool. She listened to punk rock when I was skateboarding, like really young. She was listening to punk rock. She got me into punk rock. She'd be like, "Hey, here's some tapes. Here's a mixtape." You know,
who we talking about?
To Dead Kennedys, Misfits, like Circle Jerks, all that kind of stuff, right? So cool. Oh man, what this? All my friends were like, "Oh, dude, you gotta let me borrow that. It's awesome." So then she started getting into metal and all stuff like that. But so she at one point she wanted to go see Prince and the Revolution. They played a show in Las Cruces, but her parents would not let her go without her sister. And her sister was my age. And the sister didn't want to go just because she's like, who am I going to be with? Like, you're going to be with your boyfriend or whatever, and I'm just going to be like tagging along. Mm-hmm. So then the mom was like, why don't you ask Rodney to go? All right, cool. So I got to see Prince and the Revolution just on a whim, right? This was like,
I don't know. Is that like heavy punk, or is that
Prince and the Revolution?
Yeah, I don't know. I know a lot of punk. I never.
Oh no, it's not punk.
Yeah, oh, okay.
It's not punk. It's Prince. Prince.
Prince. It's literally Prince.
Yeah, it's literally
Purple Rain.
Oh,
yeah,
Purple Rain.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I saw that show, and then a few months later I saw Bon Jovi.
Yeah.
And then saw Poison shortly after that.
I saw Poison like 2 years ago.
Yeah. So I got like a lot of really cool. So I think Prince and Revolution was probably one of my best shows.
Which Prince did you see?
So it was around it was like probably a year after Purple Rain came out. So it was like he was touring on that.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. You a Prince fan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Prince is awesome, man.
Yeah, that was actually my first tape was Purple Rain. Okay, it's not my first tape. My first tapes were Star Wars on tape.
Rock and roll.
with the book, when R2-D2 goes like this, turn the page.
Wait, what are you talking about?
You've never
dude?
seen those? So there's these cassette tapes that came out. I still have them actually. It's Star Wars Empire Strikes and Return of the Jedi. It's like, and now the story begins. You'll know when to turn the page when you hear R2-D2 go like this. And then he R2-D2 chirps and stuff like that. And then Our story begins now.
So it's like a book on tape.
Yeah, it's a book on tape. It just
Okay.
tells the story of Star Wars. You know, it's
So that's your original.
so that was,
That's what you rocked out to.
That was, that was my,
Explains a lot.
on repeat. Yeah, but like the first like albums that I got were Purple Rain, and I got Weird Al in 3D. It was the same Christmas, and it was just like it explains a lot of who I became.
That
you know?
really.
Well, maybe not
makes
the Prince
sense.
part, but like, yeah, it's I grew up with I probably like Prince through that and Around the World in a Daze and all that kind of stuff. Like that prime, I think it was middle school years.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Have you guys ever heard of the Kevin Smith stories of hanging with Prince?
Oh yeah. A
That
lot of
is-
people have great Prince stories.
I mean, I've heard one by Dave Chappelle that is kind of legendary.
It's kind of funny because I thought that was just like a joke, but apparently that's
It's
actually
totally
real.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember Kevin Smith? He was like, if you're with Prince, he doesn't understand that if he wants a giraffe, you can't just get a giraffe. And because he's Prince, he doesn't understand why you can't just have a giraffe right now. I'm like, well, that's an artist. I guess that's an artiste.
Yeah, he's amazing, man. He's amazing, and yeah, it's crazy. I didn't realize until just like a few years ago that Purple Rain was recorded live.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the whole album is live.
All done in one shot.
Yeah,
Really? Is that the one? Just
yeah.
be
It's got
honest
like
with you
every single
guys.
song is
Other
awesome.
than the radio hits, like I'm not.
Well, the crazy thing is, it's all radio hits. Like, I mean, yeah, there's definitely some
Red
not
Corvette,
radio hits.
all that
Yeah.
stuff. It's all.
Well, Red Corvette is on 1999,
Right,
but
right.
it's got Dove's Cry. It's
Okay.
got Let's Go Crazy, Purple Rain.
You don't hear Darlin' Nikki too much on the.
Yeah. But it's on there.
But yeah.
yeah, it's a good.
Does anyone
yeah.
compare to
It's
Prince
so good.
nowadays? Is there a Prince?
I don't. Think
Can there be
so.
another Prince nowadays? Like,
I feel like the level of talent right now lends to another Prince, but the fact of the matter is that Prince was like existed in a time where there wasn't that kind of level of talent, right? So it's like, how can there be another Prince? Yeah, it's kind of weird because this guy, he was.
there's just too much out there. You mean that, like, if you see a Prince, you're probably going to see someone else
Yeah,
in like a week.
it's kind of like, for instance, like, just kind of going back to like the skateboarding thing, right? Like back in the days, I'd like to say, for instance, okay, Tony Hawk, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of the best skateboarders that ever lived, right? Is he the best skateboarder now? Probably not. But there's never going to be another Tony Hawk.
You mean prime Tony Hawk versus who's out there now?
Yeah, Tony Hawk in his day, like there wasn't a lot of people who could step to him. Like he was just so amazing. He was so good. But now we're just flooded. We're completely flooded with talent. Like there's so many. I mean, the resources that are out there for skateboarders right now, right? There's like Woodward and skate camps and like all the like there's skate parks. Like back in the days, like people didn't want you skating.
My friend would have he was a big time skater. I'll never forget. He had the same damn skate tape on every time I came over to his house. I'm like, we saw this one before, man. Just over and over again.
Yeah,
Now
that's all he had.
Yeah.
Now it's like YouTube, right? Like you can watch
Endless
YouTube and learn shit, right?
Yeah, I think there's a lot more skill sharing going on.
Yeah,
too,
absolutely.
You know, so like everybody's like, you know, like we see that's like I work in a bike shop too, right? So we're constantly putting on videos of like other cyclists, you know, doing tricks and stuff like that, and most of the staff are like, wow, well, like, you know, I want to try that this weekend or something,
Right.
you know. So it's really cool to see that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and it's cool that they're, you know, that those resources are available.
Yeah,
to
I
people.
mean, you see that a lot with the like even art stuff. You know, like now we're seeing more like art lessons online.
Right,
and,
right.
You know, so you can just, you know, I want to learn more about portrait drawing, so you pull up like an hour and a half of portrait drawing online, and just, you know, you can go along with it. I mean,
So I just have a question.
Yeah,
Do you
sure.
think because of how much there is nowadays to see, is there going to be a Jean-Michel Basquiat, or let's say like a Picasso or something? Is there going to be someone in the year 2024 that in 75 years that people are going to look back on?
Well, I think there already is.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got even like Taylor Swift. You know, like, you know, like how prolific she is, what a good business person she is, you know, having the guts to re-record all of her stuff to get the rights back to it. You know, I'm not a huge,
you're not a Swiftie.
I'm not a huge Swiftie, but like I have a lot of respect for her, you know, and I think those stories like, you know, how are you going to compare her to like a Madonna, who was like a transcending businesswoman? Like, they're not the same by any means, but they both are ambitious, you know, and are going to be remembered for, you know, for all time.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think that there's definitely, it's tough, man. Because I think about, you know, so for instance, I was thinking about this the other day. So Chuck Close, right? Amazing portraiture. Like the hyperrealism is just absolutely insane. And there was like nobody doing that back in the day, right?
Yeah.
Now, right, it's like literally everywhere. Like you can go on Instagram and you're just seeing people doing like the most detailed drawings you've ever seen. Like, is this a drawing or is this not a drawing? Like, you know what I mean? It's like so insane. And yeah, so the fact that, you know, again, it's like, you know, there was nobody else in that time that Chuck Close was doing it. Is Chuck Close the best that ever did it? Maybe not anymore, but like he has his place. He's like solidified his place in art history that nobody can touch. He was like one of the first to do it, you know? So yeah, it's interesting how things are kind of working out right now.
So what do you guys, as you two are artists, how do you guys feel about the kind of art that's just being generated by a few words typed into AI now, where someone just types in universe, bad, ugly Street Fighter. I'm just looking at stuff in the room now, Ninja Turtle. And
just naming things.
And then it just makes an art piece that, you know, looks like, wow, I can't make that, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think too much about it. You know, like I think some of the stuff that I see is pretty cool. I don't know if there's any heart to it, you know, like,
well, there's not, that's
you
the
know,
thing, right?
It's just a prompt, and most of them are a little bit weird. And I mean, sometimes the weird is cool, but it always feels just a little bit off.
Yeah.
You know, when I hear a song, like sometimes they'll take Kurt Cobain's voice and play it over, you know, whatever song. It's like, it kind of sounds like Kurt Cobain singing it. But would I listen to it in my car and rock out to it? I don't think so. Like, I can't, even though it sounds like Kurt Cobain and like, you know, I can't get into it. And maybe it's for that reason, maybe because there's no heart in there.
Yeah, I mean, because you can't replicate, like, you can replicate his voice, like as somebody can do an impression of somebody, but it's the nuance, right, of like that person that makes him. It's like the things he went through that made him who he is, right? It's not just.
And it's one of the reasons I have a little Basquiat sticker right there. Like, that's one of the reasons I love his art, is like who he is, and you know, just the challenges he faced. And man, I just think he was such an interesting character. I've read so many books about him. And if I saw an AI art piece that was Basquiat, I don't know if I'd be into it, because I know it wasn't from the man.
Yeah. I mean, and to that point, like, maybe you wouldn't be able to tell, but that's not even the point. The point is, like, you know, like, yeah, okay, so you tricked me, right? But what does that do for you? Like, what does that doesn't do? I mean, it doesn't make me any worse of a person because I got tricked into thinking that there's a Basquiat out there.
But is it going to take over for the advertisers and for a lot of jobs out there, the artists?
That's yet to be seen. As far as advertising is concerned, I know that they're using it a lot for concepting and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it is gonna affect jobs, because so typically in a pitch situation, you would get together some freelancers and you'd be like, hey, can you draw this scene? This is like what I'm thinking about for this ad. It's like, you know, an earthquake and all these buildings are crumbling, right? And so this freelance artist would draw like this concept, right? Just like sketch it or whatever. And now they're just like, earthquake, you know, buildings crumbling, and it's just generating this art. And it's pretty, I mean, it's interesting what it can do, but at the same time, again, it has no heart.
Kind of like a new toy, but you know, it gets old real quick.
And it all has like a very similar feel. It doesn't, Yeah, it's just kind of like it has like no personality.
A little too smooth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Weird hands.
Yeah. Yeah.
It does weird hands, man. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm curious what's gonna come of it.
I think it'll be a tool like anything else.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
I mean, even they've added it into like Photoshop, I think.
Yeah, I actually used it. I used it generative fill for the first time, just like yesterday, or not yesterday, like on Friday or something like that.
What is generative fill?
So basically, if you need to, like, let's say I have an image, and let's say, for instance, there is a section of this image that I either need to create. Like, let's say, for instance, I have a square image. I need this to be rectangular, so I need something on this side and something on this side, rather than photoshopping and figuring out, oh yeah, like I got a gradient here and do this or that, or like I can literally select this area and say, fill with more of the scene, and it'll just literally just
Instant.
Yeah, it's it's literally insane, like seeing what it does. So for that, I think it's cool. I mean, yeah. Am I going to create like poster art out of it? Probably not. I mean, it works for some things, you know. I'm just not like sold on it as an art form, you know.
Right on. So, being from Hamilton, you live in Hamilton, right?
I live in Hamilton. Yeah, I've been here for like 20 years.
You're basically like a Hamiltonian, I guess.
Yeah. I've lived here longer than I've lived anywhere, so yeah, definitely.
You like it?
I love it. Yeah.
What do you love about it?
I love its proximity to everything.
It is kind of in the middle, right?
Yeah, I love the people. Love the food.
It's good. I'll tell you, you got a daughter now. It's a good place to raise a kid.
Yeah,
Really good place to raise a kid.
I'm excited to raise her here. Yeah, and I'm Mexican, so there's lots of Mexicans here, so I feel semi at home. You know,
some good food too.
Good food, yeah, man, good food.
Have you been to the new place over by Vinyl?
That place is awesome.
So is it it's the food truck place, right?
Is that originally a food truck?
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah, they used to actually park right there in that lot.
So it's those guys. Oh, okay.
Because I've seen that truck there.
Yeah, they moved it indoors.
Dude, that place is dangerous.
Yeah,
so good.
They also used to park across the street from the park. That was another place.
Yeah, some good Mexican.
Over by the
but it's like a
statuary thing. Yeah.
So speaking
Massarelli's, I think,
in like art terms, like clearly you had to have seen like what Don's done over the last half decade. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
What would you like to see, or even Don for that matter? You know, in my opinion, the more art, the better. Like, but specifically, what would you guys like to see here in Hamilton? If anything, I don't know if you guys have specific things you'd want to see. Would you want to see graffiti on some walls, or would you want to see?
Yeah, that's actually a good question. I feel like I think definitely what you're doing here in Hamilton is just amazing, right? Because I think the fact of the matter is that I think that people always like look to go out of Hamilton to find like the things, right? So it's like First Fridays in Philly and go check out some art or whatever like that. But the fact that it's happening here is like awesome.
People are coming in we got to talk about Hamfest before this is over, but
yeah. And you know, I think it's just like, it's just an amazing thing. But yeah, like what do I want to see here? I want to see just more art. Yeah.
I mean, they're making it happen. You've seen Delfino's been making the murals. The art club made a mural here right by my swimming pool.
Oh yeah.
It had such life to that area. It used to just be a wall where changing rooms are there, but now it's filled with fish and the ocean. It looks amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You know, it's just part of it now. And Don with the events he's making, and he does Free Art Friday where he's leaving art around town.
Yeah,
I mean, who does that?
I love that.
How freaking cool is that?
Yeah, that's really cool. That's really cool.
So, like, what about you, Don? Like, what would you say the future? I mean, when Don wants something, he makes it happen in this town. He puts dude, you do.
Crazy.
See, Don doesn't take a step back. He's always looking to the next thing. He's always got his eye on a project. But I hope that sometimes you take a step back and look and be like, damn, since, what was it, 2020?
2020.
2020, like the amount of things that you have done and added to this town. I appreciate it, and I think a lot of people probably appreciate it without even realizing that a lot of it's come from your head and your ideas.
Well,
Yeah.
Thanks. I mean, I didn't
Take
really...
the damn compliment, Don.
I'm not good at that. I just, to jump over what Rodney was saying is like, yeah, more art. Like, I think Hamilton has a unique opportunity to become a destination for the arts.
Right.
I think much to you, like what you were saying is like we're in such close proximity to Atlantic City, to Delaware, to Philly. Like we're 2 hours from everything,
right.
really. I think, and our landscape is so different from, like, we're not quite the suburbs, we're not completely farmland.
Right.
We're like something in the middle, where there's a little bit of downtown life, but there's also like the Pine Barrens, like in our backyard, like people can come here to create and be with nature. And, I'd love to see Hamilton have like a community arts center, I think 5 years from now, something that, provides not only classes and gallery space, but free resources for young artists of any age, really. Performance spaces.
Oh, that's what I want.
I want to see more like small band concerts in town. I want to see stand-up comedy in town. I want to see more dance shows in town. I want just like,
I've always thought like an open mic. I want an open mic here in town.
Yeah.
Maybe a little karaoke too.
Let me tell you, I've been like getting my list of karaoke. I'm on this like app called Smule or whatever it is, and it's like a karaoke app. And like when I have a day off, I'll spend like 2 hours a day just like singing into the phone.
Shut up!
It's just what I do. It's probably the thing that I like the most when I'm just by myself, just singing with strangers across the world. It's
all right.
fun. Yeah.
The art center, the community center opens up. You're gonna cut that ribbon, and as soon as you do, it's time to perform your song.
Yeah.
What song are you rocking out to?
That would be "Overkill" by Men at Work.
Nice.
Yeah.
Men at Work, huh?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to listen to that tonight.
You will.
Listen to it on my way home.
I'm gonna maybe a good duet. I don't know. I don't want to kill your song.
No.
Do you do a little vocal warm ups first or anything like that?
No.
Nah, you just rock.
No, I just have fun. Like I don't have to think about it, so it's just fun.
So I finally convinced my wife. I think I convinced my wife to make the dream come true. I think she's gonna let me buy my own for the summer camp, my own, like the cheapest version of a wrestling ring. So like anytime I want to put on a show, just take out the ring and like just go my own show. Because that's the biggest thing in wrestling too, is like I got 4 kids, I got a business, and I'm 41 now. I don't want to travel 4 hours to the next show and not make any money. I don't even care about the money. I just don't want to travel. I just don't want to travel, dude. But dude, if I could have like some friends and like then bring some friends and just in my backyard or my students. I mean, I did a charity show here recently. A ton of my campers, a ton of my students, and it was me versus Bane and the Joker. They wanted to take over the town. So if I lost, I'd have to leave Hamilton forever. But if I won, we got to pie the Joker in the face.
That's so awesome.
We did it. We raised so much money, and the kids were losing their minds.
That's so rad.
That is my art form. There's a lot of things I do that I guess the art club has convinced me as an art form, whether it be, I guess, public speaking or teaching or whatever. But that's the one that that's deep in my heart. So for as long as I can keep going with that, now that I have a ring, man. Oh, and how cool would it be rocking wrestling like back in the day? Have you guys come out?
Band's playing.
You have your band playing. You do your karaoke.
That's what the crowds come for.
That's the dream, baby. Yeah. That's the dream. So, dude, before we get out of here, let's talk about Hamfest. When, where, what's going down?
Yeah, and you got to check out the art because Rodney did the posters. He's been doing the posters for the last 4 years, and they've been awesome. Been fantastic.
Yeah,
so awesome.
Thank you for thinking of me on that.
No, man, it's like I really appreciate you putting all the work in. I know, like I get emails all over the time, like, can we make this change and stuff like that. So I really appreciate that. Hamfest is going to be pretty awesome this year. We've got Red Meat Conspiracy, Featherbird, and Gloss playing at the show. We've got over 20 vendors, demos, art chairs. It's going to be
in the off chance that someone's listening to this, could you just like in a few words, like explain what is Hamfest? How did it come about?
Hamfest came about as myself and John Bradley had a meeting with Dan Borelli over at Chimney, and I was just sitting outside, and wouldn't it be cool if we just had a festival here? And I called Cassie Iacovelli, who was the Main Street director at the time, and I said, wouldn't it be cool if we had a festival? And she's like, yeah, as long as I don't have to, it's as long as you take the reins on it. And then 6 weeks later we had a festival, and it's been going strong ever since. And it's really just about bringing the community together in the arts, getting people to try stuff that they might not necessarily try. And, we've been pushing this whole art is everywhere kind of movement, and that everybody can connect with the arts in some way, and building people's vocabulary through the arts, and getting them to see the value of it in their lives is super important. And I think it'll go a long way to building a stronger, more open community.
Would you tell Rodney what I might be doing or what I will be doing at this year's Hamfest?
Which of the many things that you're doing?
I'll be running around. I'll be like handing out flyers and throwing T-shirts at people or whatever. But what am I doing, brother?
So you're going to be hosting. Sam will be hosting. He will be hosting not only the main stage, but he will be running 2 separate game shows on the stage.
Nice.
And
wait a minute, there's 2.
Yeah, there's 2. There's 2 small ones. Don't worry about it.
Why are they got to be small, bro?
It's gonna be fine.
All right,
because we only because bands have to play, and we have to just be cool about it. Just be cool. Be cool.
Right. Yeah, dude. So we're gonna be doing some. I think
we're gonna do kids dance party again too.
Nice. Oh, see, that just came out of nowhere. We were between music and like, what happened? Some kids said, "Can I dance?" Or I don't know.
I have no idea what happened. We got the timing wrong for bands, and then all of a sudden there was like 45 minutes of dead air, and like next thing I know, Mary Beth's like, look at Sam, and he's got like 19 kids up on stage, and they're all just dancing together.
What were we, line dancing or something, or doing the Macarena? Or?
I don't know. Like Dan was playing music, and you guys were all just like going crazy.
I think there was one kid who's like, check out these moves. I was like, that's pretty good. You think you can do that? What about you over there? Before you know it, all these kids are on stage. Like,
yeah, that's awesome.
Dude, let's make it an official part of Hamfest.
It's official. Yeah.
Kids dance party right there on stage. I'm all about. See, like when I was a kid, I was terrified to do anything public speaking. Like I would be afraid a month before that book report was due or whatever. So now if I get the opportunity to get some kids out there and like, break through that wall of fear and like have 100 people or however many people watch them on stage, it's like, hell yeah, dude. Like that feels good.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Let me ask you guys a question before we wrap. What keeps you guys creating? Like, what?
I think it's like out of necessity. Like for me, I feel like if I wasn't creating, like, I don't know what I would be doing. Like I would probably be sad or something. But I think that I'm just always inspired. I always feel motivated to create something, even if it's music. I mean, that's kind of like, it's definitely not money motivated. Right?
Sure. Yeah.
Right. Cause it's like,
good luck if it is.
Yeah. Cause I think I think when I was in my 20s, I was playing in a band and I was like, I'm going to make it someday. I think like a few years into it, I was like, definitely not going to make it. And then, but like, I can't see myself not doing it. You know what I mean? So it's just like,
that's almost a cool thing too, is when you break over that hump where you're like, I want to be big, I want millions of people, but then you realize I just kind of really enjoy doing this.
Yeah. And it just, the fruits of your labor, right? It's like, just completely enjoy the process of creating, right? It's never really about the final product to me. I mean, sometimes it is. Sometimes it's cool to step back and look at what you've done and be like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I think like being
process.
in it, it's the process for me.
Do you doodle a lot?
A lot, yeah. How about you?
All the time. Margins, I was taking notes for something, and all of a sudden I was like, oh, I just drew a horse. I don't know where I came from.
Has nothing to do with the thing that I was trying to take notes of.
Yeah.
I'm also the same way. So I take a lot of notes for work, and it's all like calligraphy and like, black letter stuff. And it's like, this is inappropriate. I shouldn't be doing this right now. Because somebody might need to read my notes, and it just like looks like crap. I mean, in my mind, it looks like crap, but people are always like, man, that's dope. You just do that?
Now, with all the calligraphy stuff, I know we talked a little bit about like handwriting and liking the handwriting. I know it's like probably getting light, but like the stuff that you're doing that's like true like calligraphy stuff. Like, did you get into like the speedball books when you were a kid, or like how did you get into like those sort of precise kind of?
I think curiosity got me. So when I was in school, I went to school a little bit later than most people. I started Stockton College when I was like 27 years old.
Wow.
And it was like, just general like illustration books or art books, design books and stuff like that. And you'd see like this cool scripty writing or like black letter stuff, and I'd be like, man, that's awesome. That's not a font, where do I find this font? And it's like, no, it's not a font. Like, that's somebody wrote that, somebody drew that. I'm like, oh shit, man, I want to learn how to do that. So in order to create like the designs I wanted to, I started kind of having to like learn to draw that kind of stuff, or like draw letters, and being that I had a little bit of an understanding of letter forms from graffiti, I was able to kind of transition that into calligraphy in a way that was like a little bit more meaningful. And got me in a lot less trouble. But I think when I started working at One Trick, in order to, again, it was because like, even though like the work I was doing at One Trick was really cool, I always have to separate my work from like the things I love, because at the end of the day, that's still work, right?
Sure.
I don't want to like, that has to be like its own thing. So I wanted to make sure that I was spending time doing other things creatively for myself. So I started really taking on calligraphy, like more seriously, like during that time, and kind of got on the Instagram thing, and then just kind of started pushing myself to show. And really at the end of the day, I kind of started like, it was more of a way to sort of archive like the things that I was doing, and kind of like, be able to like look back and be like, oh, here's my progress. Oh, that was a year ago. So like, now like I look back and I like, oh shit, man, that's so gross. I can't believe that's what I was doing, 11 years ago. But I love Instagram for that.
I would write so many letters to people if I could do that.
It's funny, man. I do. And every time I write somebody a letter, I always do like a really fancy envelope. And
do you use like a really nice pen too?
I do it by typically markers and stuff like that.
Okay.
I'm kind of like the poor man's calligrapher. I like Sharpies, because there's a lot of people doing like really fancy pens and like really stuff. Like, I think the thing that I really like about Sharpies is that they're accessible to people, and I want kids to know that you don't have to be like some kid, like, having a lot of money to like buy these pens or go to specialty stores. You can just go to
awesome
Walgreens and pick yourself up some box of Sharpies and do really cool stuff with it.
That's cool. I have to think that goes back to your graffiti days. Like, anyone can go out there and put some art on something.
Yeah. And now it's, I like the fact that, you can put your stuff on Instagram and people from all over the world can see it, and it's kind of like the proverbial wall,
Sure.
People can see your artwork,
That's right.
So
it's cool.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. So episode 1.
I think it's in the books.
It's in the books. What could people expect? Who are we bringing on here? Who do you want to bring on here?
Oh, I want to bring on everybody. So like, hopefully what we're trying to do here is get people from all, like anybody who kind of looks through life with like a creative eye, you know, from all different types of work, because we're all doing something creative, right?
Right. Yeah.
So let's talk about what we do, what makes it creative, you know? And I think that'll be cool.
It'd be pretty cool to inspire someone too who isn't getting to scratch that itch, you know, who really does have that creative bug, but never really goes out there and does anything. There's got to be people, you know.
Just make your mark.
Yeah, hell yeah,
That's
dude.
really
So we don't know who's coming out next, but it's going to be someone creative. We guarantee that.
Well, yeah, that'll definitely.
Well, to that point, if anybody is inspired or wants to learn about anything that I've talked about this tonight, hit me up on Instagram. Hit me up in the DMs.
How can they find you again?
I'm at Jexpo76 on Instagram, and that's my primary. So hit me up there.
Yeah, and remind everyone, Hamfest when
is May 4th from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see you guys there. And thank you guys for tuning in. Don, this was awesome. Thank you, Rodney.
Thank you guys
Thanks, Rodney.
Yeah,
we appreciate it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you next time. See ya.